Davy Jones is out for revenge, but he's not due to get it until the end of 2026. The game is available in very early access, and I've played through the content that's currently included so I can share this first look with you. Let's get the name of the game out of the way first. The title is written Davy X Jones. I've taken the executive decision to hunter that X away, which is to say I'm going to call it Davy Jones from here on out. The X may actually have some symbolic meaning though, as the game sees a distinct separation between Davy and Jones. Specifically, a separation at the neck. The head gets to be Davy, and the body, Jones. You play from the perspective of Jones, or maybe perspective isn't quite right, as Jones wouldn't see anything at all with the eyes not being attached, but nonetheless, you play as Jones in first person. Davy just kind of floats around chatting shit, and you get to command him in gameplay with a context-aware button. Open this door, pick up this item, eat this health item. He manages to do fine work as a grapple hook. Davy and Jones, Jones and Davy, they're very much a team. So the game clearly takes place in that sort of pirate high fantasy setting of curses and krakens and wholesome adventures. The setup is that the fearsome Davy Jones was betrayed by his crew and outplayed by the even more fearsome Captain Blackbeard. Condemned to pirate hell, the locker, it's not Davy Jones's locker, at least not yet, so it's just a generic pirate underworld. Davy and Jones endure and set about their quest for vengeance. Actually, calling this underworld generic does it a massive disservice. At this early stage of the game, the world is the clear highlight. It's twisted but not sinister. It's packed with weird things that don't necessarily have much of an explanation. It's just, yeah, these starfish have shark jaws and this rose is a pig head that won't shut up. So what? That's just the way things are in this world. It's got a sort of Discworld tone about it, and it is quite endearing. The underworld is split into floating islands, at least thematically. You can't actually see them in place and free travel between them, so in practice they're big open plan levels, and you can go between them as the game opens up. There's only a couple available right now, but they're both rich with things to see and do. The narrative will drive you in certain directions with purpose, but if you're open to a little meandering, there's a ton of activity just built into the environment. Puzzles, combat challenges, collectibles. It's not marked all over your map like a Ubisoft game, it's just there to explore. Each of the levels has diverse environments and zones within and some really appealing design, so yeah, the world is a definite highlight. There's also a lot of dialogue in the game already. Davy floats about talking quite incessantly, and the various vendors and quest chappies need the character and charisma to really pull the tone of the world together. And the verdict on any attempt to be funny is always going to be massively subjective. Personally, I haven't found myself laughing out loud when it tries to be funny, but the attempts also haven't been really grating. It doesn't feel overly forced or annoying. The characters quite frequently poke holes in the fourth wall, pulling references from movies and such with a wink and a nod. And the references that I understand, so I think this game is aimed at me. Cool, more of that please. Combat is obviously quite fundamental to the adventure. That's where the excitement should peak. You're armed with 2 legendary weapons, or probably, I don't know the legends, but I choose to believe. A cutlass in your left hand and a blunderbuss in the right. The quintessential pirate gentleman. Combat can be fairly fast paced. The sprint is swift and you can dash. There's typically grapple points to skim through the air if you choose to, particularly on a keyboard and mouse. And there's a neat element of managing your health by spotting essences floating through the air and commanding Davy to swallow them as you go. But the melee isn't very good, in my opinion. You just swipe the sword about without feeling any impact. The parry system doesn't really have any element of timing at all against incoming attacks. You just hold the stance until something hits you and then go back to flapping your sword about. My concern is that the combat system, as it's presented right now, feels quite well developed. It feels like it might be considered finished, and it could definitely be considered good enough. I'm sure some people enjoy the combat as it is right now, and honestly, if it doesn't change at all, it won't totally undermine the game. It does work alright, but personally I hope that Parasite works the magic and revamp the melee system to feel more visceral. Yes, it's the word that gets overused in video game discourse, but it's needed here. More visceral, more brutal, more crunchy. Heavier strikes, and a well-timed parry that opens up a vicious rib-splitting riposte, whatever. Just stab them. The game seems to be structured to encourage the player to plumb the depths of eventually 9 realms or islands. to help yourself to the buffet of activities as you rebuild your strength, your crew, and your reputation, ultimately gaining enough pirate swagger to break free from the underworld, wreak vengeance on Blackbeard, and cement your legacy. A lot of those systems aren't really there to talk about yet. There's hints of crew building and ship upgrading, even slithers of a morality system, but not much of a clue as to how it's all going to come together in the final game. And that's why this is a first look and not a full preview. Early access is available on Steam and it's really cheap right now, but the plan is for the price to go up as content gets added, so something to think about. That's it for this first look. Hope it was worth your time. Thanks for watching.